What's up and welcome back. Today we're going to be diving into if you're using Wraith to her full ability. Maybe you're playing this legend not right, or maybe you could just be doing a little bit more to make her that much more effective. I'm Backpack Barney, bringing you everything you need to know about Apex Legends. Without further ado, let's dive right on into it. And I want to start out by saying that Wraith is one of, if not the easiest legend to pick up. So if you're new, try playing her. She's super easy, but that's not to say that she's not as good as the other legends. She's in fact one of the best, if not the best legend. Now it's opinion based. Everyone's got their own flavor. That is my flavor. But her ability of forgiveness, and that if she goes into a fight and it turns out to be a bad fight, she can get out easier than any other legend. Maybe Bangalore can keep up, but her Q going into the void helps out so much, and her speed when she gets that portal helps out a lot. Now we're going to dive into some comps that work really well with her, and I'm going to talk about some techniques that you can use in these comps to maximize how effective you're playing in Apex Legends. I've divided these three different comps into offensive, defensive, and then one that you can use for both. Let's start out with my favorite comp and the offensive one, which is using Wraith, Bangalore, and Bloodhound. Now this is one of my favorite comps. I believe it's the one we use in this gameplay, and it works so well to just go into a game, dominate, get as many kills as possible. When I run this comp with some of the good players that I play with, we can generally get around 20 kills every game as a squad, and we've reached that threshold. I think we've got 29, almost 30. So this comp works really well. And the way you want to use it is Wraith's portal moving into fights, because you want to move around the map really fast, finding third parties to engage on, finding easy fights where you can get easy damage out and easy kills. The way this works is after fight, use Wraith's portal. Whoever's playing Wraith in your team, make sure that they have what they need and they don't need to loot all the other boxes, right? Be generous, grab a few heals that they might need for her. But as soon as the fight ends, let her grab an ammo from one box, maybe a couple heals, and then have her set up her portal into wherever you're going next. This allows your teammates to heal up, get whatever things they need from the death boxes, and then follow Wraith without getting caught too far behind. And this will make you move around the map much quicker. The faster you move around the map, the more third parties you can find, and the easier the fights are that you take. So this helps. This is how I like to use Wraith's portal in this sense. Obviously there's other ways, but this works really well after a fight, setting it down to get your team moving around the map much quicker. Now Bangalore's smoke works really well in this comp, because her smoke will allow Wraith to move around the battlefield being seen less. When you have a smoke and Wraith goes into the void and all that there is are those three little blue lines that follow her around, she's very hard to see if you can see her at all, as well as she's not going to catch any flak bullets that are shooting through that smoke randomly. This works really well for her moving around the map, and it also allows Wraith to feel more comfortable going in the front line and diving into that next fight. Then you have Bloodhound, and Bloodhound works really well around Bangalore's smoke. Obviously with Bloodhound's ult, he can see through the smoke that Bangalore puts out, allows you to shoot into enemies that aren't shooting back, keeping them in disarray. As well as, I like to run the Wingman a lot because it's one of the most powerful guns in the game right now, and if you have the digital threat on that, it's that much better regardless of which character you're using. The other thing that you can use here is, if you're Bloodhound, make sure you're ulting while you go up balloons to see and look around for that little red speck that might be the enemy team. Both Bloodhound and Wraith move faster in their ults, so this works that much better to your team's advantage in getting around the map quicker and quicker. Then moving on to our defensive comp, and that's going to be Wraith, Lifeline, and Caustic. Traditionally, Caustic isn't this character that I would recommend everyone picking up, because I think he might be a little bit underpowered. He's very singular in where his abilities are used, and they're completely defensive. But how this is going to work is you can use Wraith's portal defensively to trap enemies. You set up a portal and then you drop it in like a room or something around some caustic traps, and as soon as the enemy comes through that portal, they're dust. They're going to be finished. Now sometimes people don't chase through the portals, but this is still good because you can set a portal down. It'll help Wraith evade a fight where maybe she's getting overrun. And if you have caustic traps on the end of that portal, you can feel much more comfortable in healing up. Even if they don't take the portal, they're not going to be able to zone in on you completely because the traps are there to protect you. Lifeline does her role like she does so well in every single comp, which is keep the team healed up. When you're in a defensive comp, this works especially well because you have caustic traps. They're going to keep you safe in your little area, and then you can use Lifeline's healing drone to get everyone topped off. This also can enable Wraith to play around more erratically, knowing that she's not bursting through all her heals when she needs to take a break and use some syringes. She can just use that healing drone and then prioritize shields when she's looting enemy boxes. Then you have Caustic, which I've already mentioned. He can use those traps to your team's advantage, but he also has his smoke grenade, where if Wraith is in a fight and things are getting kind of crazy, he just throws that smoke grenade on Wraith and it makes Wraith's Q work just that much better. You're able to move around that much better in under the disguise of this green smoke going around the battlefield, and you're harder to find. Now, Wraith's Q is super helpful because she goes into the void for a short time and can't be seen, but when she's alone and she uses her Q, she's pretty easy to track, and unless you find the right cover, the enemy's going to be able to shoot you as soon as you come out of it. But when you have the Caustic in your comp, that ult can really help out, as well as throwing down traps and getting those ignited can help out to just disguise the battlefield a little bit more and make Wraith that much harder to see. One of Wraith's best abilities in the game is just her opportunity and ability using those Qs and those ults to get around the battlefield and reposition. You can reposition so quickly with her, and she's so effective at getting easy shots off. One thing you really want to focus on when you're playing Apex Legends is just being in a better position than your enemy. And if you're able to position yourself in an area where you're getting shots off on an enemy who's not strafing on you, it's super easy to knock out their entire shields and maybe even some of their health before they can react to you being there. So this is where Wraith works really well with Caustic and Bangalore, having those disguises in the battlefield to move around. Then we have our opportunity comp, and this is one where you can either play offensive and defensive, and I do like to mix in this one specifically. We have Wraith, Bangalore, and Lifeline. Now, Bangalore and Lifeline are two legends that we've used in our previous two comps. I like them with Wraith so much because Wraith tends to be a very offensive player, and having those extra abilities of your team can help you out, either put the enemy in disarray or heal you instead of looking around for heals all the time. These are things that help Wraith play that much more aggressive in every single game when you have these players around her. So, once again, Wraith can use her portal offensively or defensively. We've kind of gone over how it can work offensively and defensively. I want to mention real quick something that I forgot to mention, which is when you use Wraith's portal defensively, that is, you get in a fight and you need to get out and you pop the portal because you run faster in it and are harder to hit. When you do that, every time right before you release your portal, it's very important that you turn around and face where you came from. That way, when you continue running after placing the portal down and an enemy comes through that portal, they face the wrong way and are a little bit discombobulated before they're able to figure out which way you've gone. This gives you that little bit extra to either camp the portal and shoot an enemy that's not facing you, or to keep running away and get that extra split second where you can get around the building or behind that rock before the enemy is looking in your direction. Very, very simple thing that helps a lot when you're using Wraith's portal defensively. Offensively, obviously, you don't want to get your own team coming through a portal and face in the wrong direction. So make sure you're using it this way at the right time. Then one thing I didn't mention with the offensive comp that we had Bangalore, and I will mention in this offensive/defensive variable comp, is that Bangalore's ult is very good at repositioning the battlefield. So in this situation, you can either use her ult offensively or defensively. Let's start with offensively. Bangalore ults and you throw it behind the enemy team. That way they have to move into you instead of moving away from you on the battlefield. You restrict their options of where they can go. Throw it behind the enemy team and they'll move into you. Your team's healthy, throw that behind them, and then Wraith and Lifeline can move around the battlefield, especially Wraith, very quickly and get those shots off on a team that's already hurting. Defensively, throw it on the enemy team. Unless you're facing a good team, they almost always run backwards through it. But if you're facing a good team, generally what they'll do is they'll run right through it and engage you right away. But defensively, throw it on them or on yourself. On yourself can tend to be even better, and then back up, and Lifeline can throw down her drone and start to heal you guys up and get you guys ready for the next fight. This is something that Bangalore is really good at. She can buy you that extra 5 to 10 seconds in a fight to heal, get off what you need, especially when you have the Lifeline in the comp. Then Lifeline is obviously that character that's going to heal you guys up, and using Bangalore's smoke and Wraith's defensive portal, you can get your team in a position to actually utilize that Lifeline healing drone rather than being in a spot where the enemy's going to be there the next second and you don't get much heals from the drone. As well as her care package can be used to equip your team with good items, armor, helmet, backpack, things like this, and you can move around faster, not needing to go find these items in buildings in floor loot. You just call those care packages in and get going. Anytime you run Lifeline, if you're any other legend on the team, don't use ultimate accelerant, give it to Lifeline, get those care packages called in. One thing nice about this when you're playing offensively and you want to go for a lot of kills, you can actually use Lifeline's care package to just let everyone know where you are. Let teams know where you are so that you can find them quicker. If teams know where you are, then they're going to come to you quicker than you would go to them if they didn't know where you were. So you can use it to bait teams. I mean, obviously the age-old thing where you can just shoot your gun off works as well, but when you use Lifeline's care package, you're getting something out of the care package, as well as that side mission of letting people know where you are. I'm yet to see how this is going to work out in competitive play, because when you're facing really good players, it is a disadvantage when players know where you are. But when you're with a good team and a good comp and you're playing very aggressively, having other teams know where you are isn't the worst thing in the world, because it allows you to get more kills. That's gonna do it, guys. That's 3 awesome comps you can use. If you're a very aggressive player and you're quality and you hit your shots, go with the offensive comp. You probably tend to play with other Bangalores and Bloodhounds because those players tend to be a little bit more aggressive. If your team's kind of getting into it, try the Wraith, Lifeline, and Caustic, or maybe even throw in a Gibraltar instead of Caustic. Try that little more defensive comp. Give your team some more leeway in fights. And then if you're just all around like the Lifeline, but you still want to play aggressive and kind of play the field, get that third variable comp where you have Lifeline, Bangalore, and Wraith. It works out so well, guys. Thank you for stopping by. If you enjoyed the channel or this video, make sure to hit that sub button. I'm Backpack Barney once again. Until next time, take care.
I'm taking shots.
Good job.
Good fucking clutch, guys.
That was all you, bro. You clutched that shit.
Let's go, guys.